Hi, I'm Hannah from 21stCenturyKY.com, and I am here for the last segment, I'm so sad, on play in the 21st century kindergarten classroom. In our prior blog posts, we've talked all about the research behind play, the need for play, how we get through play in the first and second segments of the school year, incorporating social skills, planning for play, executing play, adding to play, and then incorporating content with play. At the end of the school year, for me, play is about still a little about exploring, but then a lot of it is just about culminating. It's about bringing all that stuff back full circle and seeing how my kids have developed in that area. So we're down to the last 3 months, March, April, and May. In March, my school really it's a wonderful thing, but in March we focus on the arts. And so play in the month of March in my classroom is all about the different areas of art. And so there's tons of stuff out for my visual arts kids who like making things, construction paper, clay, Play-Doh, paint if I'm really feeling it, so just lots of different media for them to create any kind of visual art that they love. And some kids, that's right up their alley, and they'll go there every day and will make three-dimensional things that I don't know what it is about kids, but they like taking paper to themselves. And one little girl one year made a whole like dress out of paper, and then in a crown and a flower bouquet. But they really love that one. And to that end, I always save my leftover worksheets. I'm not big on worksheets in the kindergarten classroom, but you have to have them. And so for the ones that I do use, anytime I have extras, I have an extra page basket, I guess is what I call it. But I put them in there. Kids can always go there and find something to do. Either they do the worksheet, again, they play school with it, they turn it on the back and draw, they chop it up into little bits or tape it, glue it together, make stuff. But there's always that spare paper there, so they know that that is theirs to do with what they want within the confines of our theme. So we have the fine art area. We also, in the dramatic play area, I pull in the puppet theater. Up until this point, I might have pulled it out a couple different times, but it wasn't just readily available. I really want my kids to be able to think about and plan through play and not just get in the puppet theater with the puppets and grab one another's hands through the stage. That's what they do. They put them on their hands, they poke their hands up there, and somebody else grabs the puppet off. I don't know why. That's how they play. So I don't want to introduce those until I know my kids are ready to really make a puppet show. And so we talk about drama in the puppet area. They can use writing center supplies to write their parts, to talk about the different actors in their puppet play, and really incorporate some of those drama skills. We focus on some of those key vocabulary from the drama standards as well, and the same for visual arts and the same for all the arts. My school is really great about making sure that those are focused, but also weaving them throughout the entire curriculum for the elementary school. And so we have that area available for dramatic play. If I had a lot of dress-up clothes, I'd put them there too. I'm not huge on having a bunch of dress-up clothes. I feel like that's just something more I've got to wash. But those would go there where they could put on their own dramatic play event. And usually they have audiences once they put something together. They've learned about roles in play, and so they'll find some kids to be their audience and put on a show. There's the music area in the dramatic play area. I also pull in some different types of things for music. Those echo microphones are their favorite, and everybody wants to sing Let It Go from Frozen or whatever else comes to mind. And so they love the microphones. They love singing and putting on performances there. Any kind of little keyboard or xylophone, I'll also put there within reason until my nerves and head can't handle it anymore. There's lots of opportunities for fine arts things on the computer that deal with music and art and drama. However, with the new national art standards, the fifth area of art is media arts. And so we can set up opportunities for them to create something using multimedia programs or PowerPoint, or whatever it is they can create there as well. And then there's let's see, we've had fine art, visual arts, music, drama, media arts, and dance. That's where everybody's favorite Just Dance or Go Noodle come in from YouTube or the internet. March, they're getting antsy, they're ready to be outside, they need to move and groove. We have our favorites by then, and so I turn that smartboard on and they can just dance their heart out. Or some days I might choose to just play music, different genres of music, and let them just sort of do their own interpretive dance, and that's always fun as well. So in March, we focus on fine arts. A really great thing that my school does in the month of March to focus on fine arts is we have a fine arts week and a fine arts day. And our kids are encouraged to, at home, create or come up with some sort of presentation that shows their talent. And so they bring in a performance or a piece that they can do for the class, and that could be anything from a painting that they've done to a song they can play on the piano or their violin, to their ballet recital video. My daughter is all about YouTube videos, and she made her own YouTube video about how to make brownies last year, and that's what she showed for her talent on Fine Arts Week, or the week of the arts. And so then for the older kids, every class chooses a performance that they felt was their favorite for whatever reason, and then all of those performances happen at a school-wide assembly. And so we get a good mix of little student created dances or song performances, instrument performances. We've even had some tell jokes or show their skills with the basketball. Whatever their talent is, they get to share. And it's a really cool thing that our entire school does, because the arts, in my opinion, just make everything connect. When you incorporate the arts within a unit of study, your kids are going to learn at deeper levels, because they're going to be able to see things from different vantage points, and they're going to be able to make connections. And so I absolutely am pro arts integration, and love the fact that my school does this for our kids as a culminating activity. In April, we're talking in science a lot about animals and plants, because that's the time when all new things are starting up in our environment. They're growing and maturing and getting ready to move on to first grade as well. And so are all the little baby animals and little baby plants growing. And so we're learning about that in science, and that carries over into our play, and we go with the theme of the veterinarian's office. I pull out the doctor kits. I found a super cute set on TPT that is for the vet's office, and it has a little checklist. You can put it on a little clipboard, and they can check off all the things that are wrong with the pets. And then it has some really cute things I laminated that look like little x-rays of pets. So it's like a little fish x-ray or a dog x-ray. I put that in the dramatic play center. Of course, I bring gobs of stuffed animals from home so that we have the actual pets to work on. A couple little pet carriers go in the dramatic play center as well. Also, I bought some Ace bandages and cut them up into little small pieces, and man, they just can wrap those pets up like you wouldn't believe and fix their boo-boos. There's tons of fun free games online about animals and about vets. And I do leave the blocks out. Again, school's winding down, and so I like to put them out and take them back, put them out and take them back. It kind of keeps them fresh. So I put some building opportunities for my kids, even though that kind of really doesn't go with the vet. But there's, they always need something else to choose. And so I sort of leave that out there for them. My favorite during the vet center was when I looked over and somebody, they have turned the desk into the surgical table, and they've got this little poor stuffed animal dog down there, and one kid's got one paw and one kid's got another, and the other's operating. And he said, I need a bandage stat. And so obviously he's been watching some shows with his parents, or he knows all about that. But it was super cute to get the urgent. They were urgent about helping this dog. And one little girl got called away to go to the office, and she left her dog with somebody else to care for while she was gone. So they really get into that because they love stuffed animals and pets. And so that was tons of fun to have the vet's office in the room in April. And then in May, we culminate the whole thing with my personal favorite, the pizza parlor. My teacher friend thought I was nuts for swapping out all of our play centers at the very tail end of school. But my kids were engaged and loved it. I found a really great set of pizza parlor printables online. So we had little order pads and little menus, signs. I bought some chef hats, and I brought the aprons back out. I brought the kitchen back out. Boy, they've been missing that kitchen. And all the food and stuff like that. I turned a little single desk into a brick oven. I covered it with aluminum foil on top. And then I bought some empty pizza pans just at the dollar store. And I cut and laminated pieces of construction paper to build the pizza. So we had round brown pieces that fit in the bottom for the crust. And then we cut some just sort of, I don't know, weird blobby shapes out of red to be the sauce. That went on top. I bought some little Rubbermaid containers and laminated green paper and cut up peppers, and laminated gray paper and cut up mushrooms, and red paper for pepperonis. You get the idea. And we put all those toppings in different containers. For the cheese, we cut up a whole bunch of light yellow colored yarn. The janitors loved me for that because it was all over the floor every day. And so then we had all the toppings, we had the little order sheets, we had the guest checks, we had the kitchen out, and we brought the cash registers back out with the money, because at this point their play is sophisticated enough to involve all these facets. We pulled out the restaurant stuff again, and so we had the sponges and the placemats and the tablecloths for them to set up their place for their customers to eat. And so everything just sort of came full circle, and they absolutely loved it, and so did I. They were making pizzas. One little girl came to me, and she had cut out of paper the shape of like a baseball cap, and she had it on her head, and then she had a sign that said P-I-Z-Z-U, P-I-Z-Z-U. I said, oh, that says pizza, pizza. And she said, yeah, don't you know who I am? And I said, you're the pizza, like the delivery, girl, you're going to deliver the pizza? And she said, no. And she started dancing with her sign. And she said, I'm that guy that stands on the side of the road with the pizza sign, getting people to come to the pizza store. And I was like, oh, yeah. And so I stuck her over by the classroom door, and she was dragging people into our classroom to check out our pizza parlor with her advertising sign. And so she really loved that. All the kids got involved. By the end, they had created a great sense of community. They knew how to take on a role. They knew how to plan their play, execute their play, add to their play, include others, and take turns. They got so sophisticated by that last month. There were only 2 cash registers, and everybody wanted to work the cash register and be the cashier. But obviously they couldn't all have it at the same time. And so one child came to me and said, can we make a list? And we decided to start keeping a clipboard with a timer beside it. And so you would put your name on that clipboard if you wanted a cash register. And then, so whoever had the cash register would mark their own name off. They would mark their own name off, and they would start the timer, go over, be the cashier, play. When the timer went off, that child would come, check the next name, go find that child, and let them know it was their turn to play with the cash register. And sometimes they wouldn't want to, so they go to the next person on the list. Sometimes there wasn't anybody on the next on the list, and so that kid could just keep playing or choose something else. The point was, they had become so sophisticated in their play that they could plan out their turn taking and make sure that everybody got a chance. So it was a great time for me to be able to reflect on that restaurant center way back in September, and how far they had come, and how much academics they could incorporate in with their play also at this point, because I mean, we had studied wants and needs and supply and demand, consumerism. We had studied a little about money, most definitely about counting and adding. We had studied about sequencing and putting things together, planning things out, and taking on different roles in the task, working together to complete a task. And they were able to just culminate all that into one fun set of centers. And I said when I started talking about May that my teacher friend thought I was crazy for changing out the centers, but in fact that was probably one of the absolute best byproducts of setting up these play opportunities all year long and changing them every month. When you have the same play opportunities out day after day after day, the new wears off and they get tired of it. And when kids get tired of what's available for them to do, what do? Argue, fuss, and fight. At my house, if the playroom is a mess and they can't get to anything, or I haven't swapped things out and brought anything new, my kids will choose not to play. And when they choose not to play, they end up doing something like sit around and watch TV or pick at each other. And our kids in the classroom are the same way. If we leave the same blocks, the same housekeeping center out all year long, we've got 5 and 6 and sometimes going on 7-year-olds in our kindergarten classroom. They need variety, and they need us to amp it up for them. And if those same things are out all year long, you can guarantee they're going to tire of them, and they're going to tire of each other in the process, because they've been there, done that, and they're ready to move on to bigger and better things. So the absolute best byproduct of planning these play centers was that my kids were always engaged. They knew at the beginning of the month there were going to be new options available, and they wanted to explore them. And it took them a good couple of weeks to find their rhythm with that new stuff and really get involved. And then by the end of the month, I'd say, only 2 more days for these centers. It's going to be something new. And so then that created the interest all over again, because they wanted to get their last chance to play with them. And so they were 100% engaged 100% of the time. And I did not have to worry about fussing and fighting and arguing and kids saying they were bored and there was nothing they could do, or not being included, because that was alleviated when I provided new opportunities month after month. So at the end of the year, when everybody else is pulling their hair out because their kids are crazy and they're fussing and fighting and not playing appropriately anymore with what they have in their classroom, my room was still buzzing with activity, buzzing with learning and new innovations, because I had taken the time to put out something new to keep capturing their attention, to keep fueling their creativity, and to just enhance their learning altogether. If I haven't convinced you to make more time for play in your kindergarten classroom by now, I don't know if I can. I just cannot say enough how much of a difference I saw in my kids in all areas of learning by making that time for intentional, purpose-structured play. I felt great about it. I could tell my administrator about it with pride, because I knew it was standards-based, and I knew that research showed it was the best way for my kids to learn. We built all kinds of mutual background experience that we could draw from when it came to our reading and writing experiences, when it came to learning that science and social studies content, and when it came to applying our math skills to real-world situations. So It was a win, 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 win on all sides. It also made me look at my schedule and cut the stuff out of my day that I really didn't need and really wasn't what was best for my kids. I had to make some tough decisions to make time for play, but boy, when I did and saw the benefits, it was easy. It was easy to let things go and make decisions because I knew my kids needed it and it was what's best for them. And guess what? At the end of the year, 100% of my kids were benchmark, and I would say 100% of them were ready for first grade. Now, did that mean that some of them didn't still need some interventions here and there? Absolutely. Absolutely, they did. But I felt comfortable that I had taken each child as a whole child and brought them from point A to point B and prepared that child in all aspects of learning the best I could for kindergarten, and I did not look back and did not have a single regret. So I hope you feel empowered. I hope you feel energized. I hope you have all kinds of ideas churning, and I hope that you provide your kids with some really great play opportunities, because 21st century kids need to play just like 20th century kids did, just like you and me. So thanks a lot for joining me. I'd love to hear your comments about how you incorporate play, and I'll see you next time. Who knows what we might talk about next?